Hello and welcome to the Reign Series 3 video documentary series for episode 2. In today's video, I wanted to talk about 3 scenes that stuck out to me. I mean, everything in this episode I loved, but I want to talk about 3 specific scenes. But first, I want to talk about why does this episode exist? Because at the time of making this video, episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and episode 7 have come out. And looking at 1 through 7, episode 2 is by far the most different out of the 7 because it focuses specifically on Tom Raines as a character and his backstory. And the biggest reason for that episode is we didn't really even know who Tom was as a character. At least I didn't know who Tom was. And since he was the main character, I was like, I should, know more about my main character, my main protagonist. Although one could argue there's a lot of main characters in Reign. There's a lot of characters that are very important and have the spotlight. But Tom is someone that I want to give more of a spotlight to, because in Series 1, we just kind of saw him as a mellow guy reacting to things in a relaxing manner. Series 2, we saw him reacting to things in a over-the-top and crazy manner. And then in Series 3, it's like, okay, we've seen him react to so many things. Who is this guy? Who is he? Where did he come from? Why is he so mysterious? Like, who is Tom Raines? And that's what episode 2 addresses. And we really get to see a backstory that I don't think many people predicted. At least I did not predict it per se. Although in Series 2, there's a scene from episode 3 where Tom says, I didn't come back from duty just to get shot at. And that was subtle hints to what was going to eventually become this episode. But that was like many years ago. Episode 2 is called The Nomad, and it's called The Nomad because there's a scene in the show where Ace and Tom talk about like, hey, you've gotten really good.
Still, you've made a ton of progress in a small amount of time.
I'm a firm believer that a lot can happen in a short period of time.
You should have a nickname.
Nickname?
Yeah, like the Nomad or something.
The Nomad? Aren't those people who travel a lot? How does that relate to me?
As a soldier, you're kind of getting a name for yourself around here. You need a nickname because every badass person has a nickname. And we were thinking the Nomad. And now the direct translation of the Nomad means to wander. No one really knows much about them, right? Which kind of foreshadows who Tom is, because at the time episode 2 comes out, we don't really know who Tom is till we obviously watch the episode. Episode 2 100% focuses on Tom Raines as a character. And that's the whole purpose of it. But it's a completely different feel from the rest of the series because it's only about Tom and it's not about all these other characters happening within Reign. It does feel like a different show. Like Reign already kind of feels different. It feels drastically different from Series 1 and Series 2. But Episode 2 kind of feels like Inheritor, right? Inheritor was going to be a show that I made after Reign a long time ago that follows like a bunch of Spartans, and the show just never came to be. So I think this episode was a way for me to kind of make Inheritor without actually making it and tying it into a story of something I really cared about, because I never wanted to actually go to the Inheritor series until after I finished Reign. And that was a long-term goal like a long time ago, and things have obviously changed. But the fact that I was able to even come back to Reign in the first place to make it, I was like, let me do a homage to this series. So that's what episode 2 is mostly about. It's just about Tom. There is some stuff towards the end, which we will talk about. But first, the first thing I want to talk about is the gun shooting range scene.
So tell me, Tom, what's your story?
Now, who is Ace? Ace is a character introduced at the end of episode 1. It's someone that had an impact on Tom's life to the point where he never forgets about him. Tom visits Ace's grave. He has a poster or a picture of him up in his apartment. He's a guy that Tom values, that he cares about a lot.
You're a great teacher. That's how I learned.
Someone that had a profound impact on his life. And before we even watch episode 2, we know that Ace dies. We know that he's not going to make it. So watching this episode knowing that he's going to die somehow, it's a bit unsettling. My goal was, how do I introduce a character into a story and then kill them off within the same episode? He is introduced at the end of episode 1, but he has 30 seconds of screen time in episode 1, and then episode 2, it's okay, how do I introduce this guy, convince the audience that he's best friends with Tom, they grow a strong brotherly hood friendship, and how do I kill him off and like still have it be super impactful? And I do think I did achieve that, where he comes in, makes an impact, and then he leaves, and he's in and out rather quickly. And I think that all kind of begins with this gun range scene where we kind of find out, like, Tom doesn't talk about his parents anymore.
Why'd you join the UNSC?
I've had a lot of time in my hands since I didn't talk to my parents anymore. Thought I could spend it doing some good.
Oh, sorry about your parents.
It's okay. I don't talk about it much anyways.
We're still learning about him as a character, but there's still mysteries that we still don't know yet about Tom. So we're looking at his backstory behind the curtain, but we're not fully revealing everything yet. But we're still taking a look to him as a person way more than I ever have. And we learned a bit about Ace, and we learned that he's dating this girl called Claudia, and it's getting serious.
We've been together for a couple of years. As stupid as it sounds, I think she might be the one.
The one? Whoa, what makes you so sure?
We just get each other. She's so supporting, funny, kind, and beautiful.
Yeah, that does sound great. Happy for you, man.
Thanks, Tom.
What's her name?
Claudia.
It just shows that, like, these characters have lives outside of these episodes. Ace has a life outside of Rain, and Tom had a life outside of Rain, and now we're seeing a glimpse of that, but not all of it. And we establish very fast that, like, Ace has a plan. He wants to get out of the UNSC within 2.5 years, and he has this whole life ahead of him. And it's sad because he never gets to achieve that. But we see that he had plans, and that's really inspiring for Tom, because all Tom wants to do is kind of lose himself to the UNSC because he's trying to get away from something which caused him to join the UNSC in the first place. This is like the first scene where, like, Ace and Tom really have a chance to kind of marinate together. There was the previous scene where they got food, but that was like an appetizer. This is like the main course where they really start to bond, and we start to see the roots of, like, their friendship really blossom. And we see why it's so devastating for Tom later on when Ace does actually die. The next scene I want to talk about is the final scene between Tom and Ace when Ace is sent on this mysterious mission.
I'm going to land a little further out so we don't get spotted. Copy.
Tom joins him, not entirely confident, mostly doubtful, but he trusts Ace. Ace is really skilled, really talented, so he believes him. And he goes on this mission, and it ends up being their last mission. And they discover something that they shouldn't have discovered. Ace, he like has like this radar scanner. It goes haywire. It makes a lot of noise. He gets spotted.
Ace!
It's orders. What are your orders?
Take him out. Cover it up later.
Within like 20 seconds, he gets taken out. Whoever they were looking on and spying on, like, they're not fucking around. Like, he takes him out, and he tells Tom, get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here!
No!
Tom! Go! Ace!
Tom doesn't want to leave his friend behind, but the blast kills Ace, like, immediately. And then the blast is so intense that it sends Tom flying. And there's an amazing shot in the episode where Tom falls into the water, and I just love how that looks. This whole episode is just gorgeous. I love how everything came out.
Oh my fucking god. It's
Tom reacts and he's freaking out, and he has to leave the area because they're searching for other survivors, and he doesn't have that time to mourn, which is really fucked up.
Fuck! 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 Oh my god! Fuck! 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 Oh my fucking god! Fuck! Ace! Oh my god!
that scene was a lot of fun to make. It was really challenging. It's like, how do I make this happen? Because a lot of it takes place out of bounds on the map Tempest. At some point, you have to figure out this path because you're out of bounds on the map. And if you go too far, you'll actually die. So it was definitely harder than I thought to film, but I think it all came together. I'm not a visual effects person. I do not claim to be a visual effects artist. I am just a video editor. All these effects I did myself with stock footage by a great site called Storyblocks, and all the sound effects are from another great site called Envato Elements. Yeah, I'm not a VFX person. I did the best that I could. I think to me it looks good, but as someone who's not a VFX artist, obviously it's a big difference. But the goal of this episode is just to show Tom meeting someone really special that really impacts his life, and he spends a lot of time with him. And then they go on this one mission, something goes wrong, and just like that, his friend is gone, and Tom is scarred, and he's medically discharged for PTSD, psychological trauma.
PTSD. Very common, unfortunately. He's no longer stable enough to continue serving.
I see.
I would recommend a medical discharge.
He's a really good soldier. Are you sure nothing can be done?
In the condition he's at, I would highly be against it.
But it's also a mystery because the UNSC quickly covers it up like, oh, he died fighting insurrectionists.
I'm sorry to hear about Ace. Killed in action fighting some insurrectionists. He died serving Reach. You know that, right?
Right.
And Tom's like, wow, like, that is such bullshit, but I'm not gonna take on the entire UNSC to prove my point, and like, there's no way I could do anything. Plus, Tom's terrified. Like, what if they take him out? What if they find out that he was a part of this mysterious thing? I won't say too much about this because this is going to be more referenced later on in the show, but there's a word that comes up before Ace dies where he hears a word called Imperium.
What about the Imperiums? Ignis and Fulgur are still missing. After what happened with Frickus 2 years ago, we need to be on high alert.
Imperiums.
And Imperium is going to play a very important role in the show later on. But for now, Imperium is mentioned. They don't know what it is, but that will come back in the show later. The last scene that I wanted to talk about was the ending of episode 2. So I love the ending because we see a little snippet of what happens after Ace's death and Tom leaves the UNSC, and then we have this little section before Reign Series 1.
Little nervous.
Look, you'll be fine, dude. My sister's good friends with her. She wouldn't have recommended her otherwise. Just go in and be yourself.
I'm just not a fan of blind dates.
Just try to have fun and let me know how it goes.
Where Tom is in a car and he's going on a blind date with Nikki. Nikki was connected with Aaron's sister. It was just like a friend of a friend.
She'll be arriving in like 5 minutes. I'd go get a table. My sister told her what you look like.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Aaron.
No problem, man. Good luck.
And I love that we see that introduction to Tom and Nikki. And I know that in Series 3 they're no longer together, but I just thought it was really cool how I showed how that started. And that, I don't know, I really liked how that all kind of intertwined with each other. I know it's like 2 years apart, but I really liked how that kind of molded together.
So, what's your name?
I'm Nikki. Nice to meet you, Tom.
And then we end the episode where Tom wakes up. He talks to Aaron, talks to Ted. And then Tom goes on his way to start his day, and Aaron and Ted are on the way to pick up Aaron's sister. So that's episode 2. It serves as a complete backstory for Tom, but he's still shrouded in mystery. But now we have like way more information about this character. He used to be in the military. He doesn't talk to his parents anymore. He had a friend named Ace who tragically died, who changed his life. That's way more than we ever knew about him from a guy that just reacted to all of that. So episode 2, it feels different because it's not really Reign per se, it's just Tom. And that's interesting to me as a writer, and I really love how I was able to mold a character like Ace to someone that you like, and then they're gone before you know it. And he's voiced by the amazing Maddie James, who does an amazing job as Ace. Tom is voiced by the extremely talented Tori Kamal. These voice actors, along with everyone else in the episode, they kill it. they kill it. Because my writing, I've noticed that my writing, and this is maybe something I should improve on, my writing is very honest. A lot of people don't speak their mind and they kind of like beat around the bush. I don't really do that in general, which is why every character in Rain is like super honest and they're like very blunt. I've noticed that like everyone's like super honest about stuff, and it's not common for people to not answer questions. I'm very direct, but I guess that's not natural, but somehow I make it work within Rain, and everyone in the show just does a phenomenal job. And while I write the scripts and I mold the story, these voice actors bring the show to life, and they kill it. They kill it. I do voice act some characters. I don't think I'm that great, and I was even considering recasting like all my characters, but that would take way too long, and I already have so much to do. I am very proud of my cast. They are phenomenal, and I love this episode. And that was a recap / behind the scenes on Rain Series 3, Episode 2, The Nomad. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more video documentaries on this channel of Episodes 3 and beyond. I can't wait because there's so much to talk about with Rain, and a lot happens in the next episode. Specifically the end, but we'll get to there. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.